excited. Today is Thursday, March 21st, and we have a wonderful guest. His name is Dr. Mark Green, or you could say Mark Green, PhD. He's a very humble human being. But he is super smart, and he is someone that you all should know if you don't already know him. We have done another live, but this live is going to dig in deeper to business development and how he really feels that the landscape of business development is today and what's really needed. Mark has been responsible for $500 million worth of securing that revenue. $500 million. You, Mark, when you hear that, I mean, that's a huge number.
Yes, like to have a portion of that
Yeah,
yielding
yeah.
commissions. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but that's huge. I mean, 500 million. And so what I'd like to say about Mark before I turn the microphone over to him is, if you are in business development as a representative, as a BDR, or you're thinking about getting into business development, Mark is really someone that you should connect with, that you should know. And then also the other audience that this one is, this presentation is for is the business founders. The founders that, perhaps you have been in a situation where you have hired business development reps before, but maybe they were in your mind a bit of a disappointment, or better yet, maybe you're getting ready to hire or to look at business development reps. And that is actually Mark's specialty because he can help from a fractional basis. And for those of you that are wondering what does fractional mean, Mark can explain it in his own words. But, fractional means temporary. Fractional means that most likely he won't be around forever. I mean, he likes to look at the 30, 60, 90-day time frame. That does not mean that something couldn't be negotiated, but fractional is temporary in nature, and you're in a lot of cases the clients with fractional work are getting above and beyond the amount of work and results that you would if it was a full-time person. Would you agree with that,
Absolutely. I
Mark?
think that's well said, Toria.
And I think it's a
Yep.
win-win-win, for the fractional work because so many times what I've found is clients may hesitate, because they don't know, or they're unsure, maybe they didn't have a good experience. And with the fractional work, you're getting so much expertise for a fraction of the
That's right.
investment.
Well,
So I think it's a wonderful thing. Okay, so without further ado,
thank
welcome,
you,
Mark.
Toria. Very
Woo!
kind.
I'm going to turn it
What an ovation there. Thank you very much. You see on your
over.
screen,
You're welcome.
Strategic Pathways. That's been my company for over 15 years now. I mean, you mentioned PhD and maybe poor, hungry, and desperate, but in this case, I feel that business development is something that I've studied and practiced and learned from many experts over the years. I really think that it's the most important area of business today because just the word development means that there's a lot to it. It's not just a one and done, it's ongoing. And I think today's business development has shown a lot of change. The fractional part is that if you want to get momentum going and have traction, someone like me can come in and take care of that for you. The benefit is that I'm solely uh, for the results, and I can take a lot of those headaches off your hands. So whether you're trying to learn, practice, become better, or just new at it, it's certainly something that I'm willing to work with you on. So I'm going to start here. Just it's just a few items that I wanted to share with you all. Number one is 952,013. That's the number of B2B representation employed in the United States. Almost a million.
Wow.
So you're one of a million, and but you
Yeah.
have to differentiate in today's market because there's so much diversity and so much agility and flexibility that you have to present. Almost 33.2 million companies in the U.S. So there's still a lot of business out there to go after. But it's interesting in the recent Business Insider magazine, they were surveying CEOs that said that 77% still believe that increasing sales leads is probably the number one priority for success. Obviously, a fraction, if you will, of the overall business development is sales leads. But as you see on the bottom marquee there, it's beyond the traditional profit-driven approach of today. You're dealing with so many different things that encompass engagement with in a healthcare business with patients, with physicians. In other industries, you've got the community, the environment, the social aspects that you have to deal with, and of course, being able to show innovation and sustainability are very critical. So that's the landscape that they're dealing with. We got a lot of opportunity, but you've got to be really focused and prepared for it. So next slide shows that some of the trends that I wanted to share with you are shaping business development today. I mean, again, embracing change is really important, but the first one up here at the top left is digital transformation. Everybody's heard about it, but it's beyond just artificial intelligence. It's working with the cloud. It's the Internet of Things, if you will. It is a transformation that's here to stay, and a lot of businesses are looking to put it into play, but they don't know exactly how to do that. So it's going to require a lot of study on our part. Second box up there is focus on sustainability. What I mean by that is that obviously you've got to do things quickly, nimble, be able to ascertain what the problems are and find the solutions. But it can't be just over a couple of months. It's not the flavor of the day. It's got to be something that's going to not only drive business, but sustain business and show that consistency and momentum that all businesses need in order to survive over time. Bottom left, remote and hybrid cooperation. Again, not a whole lot of explanation needed. Since COVID, these have driven our behaviors on how we deal with customers. But it's really important that you stay up on the technology and all the data resources and all the analysis that's available to us, because even though I believe that the face-to-face meeting is still very critical because you have more advantages and benefits on both sides with that mutual conversation and discussion. But that's not the way that most like to deal with. I mean, you're looking at the economy and money and so forth. So you're going to have a hybrid plan of action in most cases, but a lot of it's going to be remote, how effective you are virtually with that customer. It's not easy, and there's different techniques to get that done. Last but not least is the agility and flexibility. And I wanted to spend a little bit more time on this, Tori, if I could, because I think a lot of founders and owners and C-suite executives are saying, I need a lot more flexibility and agility in what we're doing, because I may be just on target the first month and see very quickly that the customers are not uh, holding on to that. So we're going to have to switch and pivot. But this is an iterative uh, approach, a iteration, excuse me, where you break down larger products. You got to put things in chunks. You got to work with cross-functional teams. Um, a lot more diverse skills that you need. Continuous feedback loops, and you got to be really good at that. I know personally, and through many other of my business development colleagues, that the average number of people that you deal with, depending on the size of the organization, of course,
Mhm.
is around 10 people in order to get a contract signed or a deal closed. And the reason being that is you not only have the lead sales and marketing and operation, but you're also looking at procurement, finance, legal teams. You may even have board members in many cases that you need to deal
That's
with.
true.
Um, and so it's a focus on the value that you bring, shifting market demands, testing out new ideas. And I can tell you that if a customer says, talking about the clients that you're working with in business development, that they are interested in uh, finding out if a market shift would work. I'm telling you, they're not thinking about that 3 months down the road. They're thinking about that right now, and so you got to get
That's
on it
true.
right now in order for them to see the value that you bring. So embracing the change for the business growth and all these trends. And then the next slide that I wanted to share with you.
Oh, I have a
Oh, sure,
question.
Tor. No,
Sorry.
no.
I sorry. Uh, can you explain, because I feel like this is a question that a lot of people may not speak out about, but can you really explain agile, like in simple terms, in case somebody's not familiar with it?
Yeah. Well, I think someone that's very agile is someone who has an ability to think on their feet, who has, so to speak, or has an ability to make shifts in their roadmap, can quickly ascertain what the clarification of a problem is, define what the solutions and the options are, being able to present that, and then whatever is the decision, to have an implementation plan, but also have the flexibility as someone who's agile to make certain decisions that can maybe better the system or the processes that you're using. I think for most people, when they hear agility, they just think about being, um, you know, able to do multiple things. It's really doing multiple things very well, but being able to shift into those roles with not a lot of hesitation or reservation. Yeah,
Okay. I love that. I love that example because, and there are, I see a lot on LinkedIn, a lot of even agile coaches.
yeah,
But just to be clear, like with your fractional work with business development, they wouldn't, your prospects, your clients, they wouldn't necessarily need an agile coach. Is that true? I mean, it probably would be nice to have, but that wouldn't be necessary. You would be able to do your fractional work, whether or not. they had any kind of agile processes and things like that in their business. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Or would you require an agile coach
Well, I think, yeah,
certification?
I think the agility piece is really important. I'm glad you're bringing it out because I think you do have to shift. Today's world moves too fast not to have that
Yeah, it
agility.
does.
So
Yeah,
non-flexible coaches or non-flexible leaders generally get into problems quickly, and it's hard to get out of them because you have to have not only an open mind but an ability to listen to others and go for advice and being able to maneuver within the unknown, within uncertainty. And it's okay if you make mistakes. You just don't want to make fatal errors. But mistakes are going to
right,
be made. But hey, you shift and you move forward. You got to keep going forward.
right.
Yeah,
I love that. Okay, thank you for
yeah.
clarifying that.
So we've looked in at what the landscape is like. These are the trends that we're seeing in business development. Next, I want to show you what I'd like to frame out as what a lot of business leaders are thinking about these days. And I got it framed there, as you can see at the top. There's
Yes.
really three things that it all comes down to. You can ask it 50 different ways. They're generally interested in uh, reducing cost, of course, increasing revenue, of course, but also reduction of risk, mitigating risk. And the impact that you're looking for with these things in mind is number one, coming to the uh, towards the business with insight and able to ask very pertinent questions and to learn very quickly. But more importantly, is that you come understanding the market, understanding market access, sales abilities, a number of things within in the business that requires all that insight. So the preparation is extremely important when you're looking to help them in those three areas. What is their current state? I mean, where are they now? What's the situation? Obviously, that is going to be very important. But I think the next question is really critical. If the business leader does nothing in terms of moving forward with whatever you're offering as a business developer, and the question really becomes, okay, so do they think within 6 months, within a year, 3 years, if they do nothing, that they're going to get the results that they're looking for? Most of the time, it's no, they're not. So there needs to be
Mhm,
some insightful reason for them to not do anything, but most will want to do something. So you shape the future
mhm.
state of things, let them know what they can expect beyond if they make the right decision. You make them the hero, you give them the cape, you're the guide, move them towards where they see that vision, move them towards where they need to be at all times. So the change is something that you guide them through. And then, of course, you got to have measurement. So, not spending a whole lot of time on this. It's simple but not easy. It takes a lot of practice to be able to do this. And again, you're not working with just one person. You're working with several, and you may have to do this kind of mental exercise with them um, numerous times to get them where they need to be. So we've looked at the landscape, we've looked at the trends. Now the process is such that it's oversimplified. There's a lot more to it, but I got to tell you, you have to practice these things. It does not come
Mhm.
naturally and smooth. All right.
Oh, that's powerful, Mark, because if it's not easy from, when you look at both sides of it, between the businesses, that may need to hire business development reps or, want to hire business development reps. It's not easy for them because They don't necessarily, they may not know what to do, right? And then if someone's aspiring to be a business development rep, or, perhaps they may work in a different part of the company, or they're looking to break into that, what do
Yeah.
they do? And how do they learn this?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think there's really a misconception that when people are brought on as business developers, which a lot of people just say, well, as sales, actually, as I pointed out the first slide, it's a lot more
Mm,
diverse than that.
definitely.
But the fact is that there's a lot of moving parts, and you have to be trained. I mean, part of it is you got to call people, and cold calling is like taboo and can't
Yeah.
do it. Well, I'm here to tell you that you must do it, and it's not
Mhm.
necessarily
Right.
that evil. It's actually very good. There's techniques to do it,
Mhm.
and you can use other methods of media that can help you, but it's not automation. You still got to reach out. We're still in the people business, but it's you bring out a good point, Tori, because um, business development is, to me, I don't know that you're ever at the height of your craft when you're in this area, because there's always something new to learn. There's always relationships to cultivate. There's always problems to navigate and maneuver through. So staying on top of that and understanding that it's always going to be um, a focused solution mentality that's going to get you where you are. You can't be into problem centered thinking at all, because we all, that's one thing we have in common. We all have problems, including the
Yeah,
business
right.
owner, big time. So we need to be focused
Right.
on
Right.
solutions.
Oh, yeah. And just you saying that is refreshing, because of the fact that, like you said, I mean, everyone, we all have problems or top of mind challenges, but if we don't have the right people, like you said, focusing on solutions, having it be solution centric, like you're saying, it well, in a lot of cases, the problems will probably multiply, right? Or they won't be solved. So now, can you spend the remaining few minutes? Because I know we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I wanted to see if anyone had any questions. I just checked, there were like 6 people
Hmm.
online. I know it doesn't show on this, but I looked on my phone. So I'm just going to say, if anyone has any questions, they can put their question in the comments. I'll just look on on my phone because it's not showing up here. And if you happen to watch the recording and you weren't here live, or you think of a question after this is over, go ahead and put the question in the comments, and Mark will make sure, and I will make sure that you will get the answers from him. You are here to share this important information. And, Mark is very passionate about this. This is his life's work. So, until I'm going to check and see if anybody has any questions. But in the meantime, do you have any questions, Mark, that you can speak to?
Yeah, I think one of the questions that I've noticed is how do you win over with so many different personalities and personas to deal
Mhm.
with? Well, it certainly is an art. Again, sounds simple, but not easy. Uh, and
Right.
so both. uh, I think, first of all, I'd say the first two or three conversations that I have with any prospect is learning everything I can about them. Obviously, we've got LinkedIn, we've got other social media and the internet that we can learn about their backgrounds. But, you know, the old saying that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and I say about
Yeah,
them
right.
and understanding what really motivates them. And trust and respect is not dead. I mean, everybody is
No.
looking for the trusted advisor and someone that can really go to bat for them, take it over. And that's really what I'm about is I want to take this off your hands. I want to get in the trenches and do
Mhm.
some of the tough work and let you do some things that you feel are tremendously important that I won't have anything to do with from a business development standpoint. But it is an organizational implementation. Business development is not just a section of a company. It is everyone involved. Everyone needs to understand
Mhm.
their role and
Good point.
support in it. So I would say that to win over anyone, you got to have trust and respect, of course, authenticity, and they have to know that you and the organization that you represent have their full support and that you're doing everything you can, every moment that you can to make them successful, make them the hero.
Mm. Yes, I love that. So we have time for one more question,
Okay.
if you want to, and then before we wrap up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I saw one more, and it was asking about, what are some of the key people that you need to address when you start any kind of business development um,
Mhm.
endeavor. And well, of course, there's always those that lead sales and marketing. But I will tell you that um, it's as I said earlier, it may be finance, it may be procurement, it may be legal people, it may be a board member or some influencer that you have. You got to start somewhere and build the circle. But I think most importantly within this is the fact that the whole process of business development is being innovative, learning and sharing with them insightful information about their industry,
Mm.
case studies about what's going on in competition and so forth. It may not hit everybody, but the more you have, the more it's going to resonate with some component with someone else that's in that
Mhm.
decision making circle that they must have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the analogy too, and like you speak to the circle. I think that's super important, and they can count on you to help
Right.
orchestrate that. With your fractional engagement. So so we wrap up here on time. How is it best that they get in touch with you? I know we have your calendar link. What would you like them to do if they're interested in you know, 15-minute discussion
Yeah,
with you?
please use the calendar link, but also you can reach out to me by phone, 352-212-5796. My email is mgreen, like the color, at stratpath.com. And, obviously um, any mode, whether it's any of the social medias, Instagram or
Okay,
Facebook
perfect.
or whatever, I would I
Or
would
yeah,
just love to have 10, 15-minute conversations with any of you simply
okay.
because that's how we learn from one
Yeah, and it's a
another.
win-win-win. So so we will make sure, like I said, that the calendar links are in the comments, along with anything else if you want to put your email or phone number. And we'll be back here with another session. But in the meantime, we will say goodbye now. And thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mark, for
my pleasure.
joining us and blessing us with your business development expertise.
My pleasure. You're the best, Toria.
No, you're the best. Okay. You're the best.
Thank
All
you.
right. We will look